Abraham Lincoln, the philanthropist, that is, the lover of mankind, who would not even kill an ant, once told his friends, "Hey, I'm going to destroy my enemies."
Was it possible for a man like Lincoln to kill anybody?
Yes, his friends also asked the same question. Then Lincoln replied with a smile, "Friends, I'll destroy my enemies by making them my friends, because love conquers all."
Sir, what is the theme of the lesson Maternity?
Well, the lesson Maternity by Lilika Nagos gives us an important message. Love and sympathy are the universal feelings without substitutes. They have no caste, creed, color, religion or region. And we cannot say from whom, when and where they will come from. They may at times come even from our enemies.
So children, hope you're fine. We are going to the next unit, Maternity, written by Lilika Nagos. Now let me ask you, what is maternity? What is maternity? Yes, maternity means motherhood. And love and sympathy are the universal feeling which may come from an unexpected corner as well. And here you find a teenage boy, Mikhail, who stands for courage and determination and who tries at any cost to save his infant brother. Now he leads the story. So we are going to paragraph 1. It was more than a month since they were at Marseilles. The camp of Armenian refugees on the outskirts of the town already looked like a small village. They had settled down in any way they could, the richest under tents, the others in the ruined sheds, but the majority of the refugees, having found nothing better, were sheltered under carpets held up at the four corners by sticks. See, here you find Marseilles, a place called Marseilles. Where is this place? Yes, it's in France. Now, here in that part, a camp of Armenian refugees, people from Armenia, were there as refugees. And where is it? On the outskirts of the town, on the borders of the town. And that refugee camp looked like a small village. And how did they settle? How did these Armenian refugees settle? Yes, they settled under tents and others in the ruined sheds. Okay, and they were sheltered under carpets held up by the four corners by sticks, somewhat like a shelter. So this is how, and it is they've also described how the richest people, where did the richest people live? They lived under tents. And the others, yes, in ruined sheds. And where did the majority of the refugees settle? Yes, they were sheltered under carpets held up at the four corners, somewhat like a carpet. They took a carpet and they made a shelter using four sticks, somewhat like a shelter, and they were all staying there. Okay, they thought themselves lucky if they could find a sheet to hang up at the sides and wall them from peering eyes. Then they felt almost at home. The men found work no matter what, so that in any case they were not racked by hunger and their children had something to eat. Now see, this is what is said. They were lucky because they could find a sheet to hang up at the sides and give them a little privacy from peering eyes. And what did the men do? They found work, and so there was no hunger. They felt that almost they were at home, and no matter what, in any case they were not racked with hunger and their children had something to eat. That was the life of the refugees in the camp. The men found work and the children had got something to eat, and they were not racked with hunger. Okay? Of all of them, Michali alone could do nothing. He ate the stale bread which his neighbors cared to offer, and it weighed on him. For he was a big lad of 14, healthy and robust. But how could he think of looking for work when he literally bore on his back the burden of a newborn babe? Since his birth, which had caused his mother's death, he had wailed, proclaiming his famished state from morn till night. Who could have accepted Michali's services when his own compatriots had chased him from their quarters because they were unable to bear the uninterrupted howls which kept them awake at night? Now see here, this is supposed to be a very touching scene you find here. And Michali couldn't do anything. He ate stale bread. What do you mean by stale bread? Yes, stale bread is something which is not fresh. It is dry, or you can say it's musty. And his neighbors gave the food for him. And he was not able to work. Why? Because he was carrying a burden on his back. And what is that burden here? What is that burden referred to here? Yes, he bore on his back the burden of a newborn babe. And here you find Michali is a boy of a lad, a boy of 14, very healthy and robust, a very sturdy fellow. And he was bearing a burden of the burden of a newborn babe. And see what happened when the baby was born. His mother died, and so Michali carried the baby on his back. And the problem was that the baby started screaming out of hunger. Why did the baby scream? Soon after a baby is born, it is fed by the mother's milk. And see here, was there a mother to feed him? No. And so what happened? The baby screamed out of hunger, and this disturbed the other refugees. And they were too much disturbed by the screams that it started chasing him away. That is what is said here. See, they were unable to bear the uninterrupted howls which kept them awake at night. And that was why he was chased away by the other fellow citizens. Did you get it?
Sir, what made Michali's life so miserable?
Michali, the unfortunate 14-year-old boy, had to take care of his newborn brother as his mother died in childbirth. The baby brother cried out of hunger and thirst throughout. Everyone chased him as the child kept crying bitterly.
Sir, where does the story Maternity take place? Who are the characters in the story?
Well, the events in the story Maternity by Lilika Nagos move through 3 places: 2 refugee camps and a Chinaman's house. The refugee camps, namely Armenian and Anatolian, situated on opposite sides, where people lived in very pathetic and miserable conditions. And the central character in the story is a boy of your age named Michali and his newborn baby brother who lost its mother in childbirth. And Michali had to take care of this child.
Michali himself was dazed by these cries. His head was empty and he wandered about like a lost soul, dying from lack of sleep and weariness, always dragging about with him the deafening burden that had been borne for his misfortune and his own, and that had so badly chosen the moment to appear on this earth. Everybody listened to it with irritation. They had so many troubles of their own, and they all pitifully wished it would die. See what happened. See, he was very much confused by the cries of the baby. He didn't know what to do, and he wandered about like a lost soul. See that? Because he was chased away by the refugees. He could not do any job and earn anything, and he was dying from lack of sleep and weariness. So all these tells us that he was wandering about like a lost soul. It's a very beautiful expression, a simile. See, here we see the simile in a poetic quality of prose here. Am I right? And see, the cries of the baby out of hunger, and everybody listened to it with irritation. See, the refugees could not bear the uninterrupted howls of the newborn babe, and they were very much irritated and wished for the death of the child. You get me? But that did not happen, for the newborn child sought desperately to live and cried louder his famished state. The distracted women stuffed their ears, and Mikhail wandered about like a drunken man. He hadn't a penny in his pocket to buy the infant milk, and not one woman in the camp was in a position to give it the breast, enough to drive one mad. Now see what happened. The newborn child started crying louder, and no one was there to feed the baby. And see how the women behaved here. The women were, what did they do? Were they willing to help him? No, not even one woman in the camp was willing to help Mikhail or to give the baby the breast milk. Now this is a very shameful attitude of the women folk there. And see, again it is said that Mikhail wandered about like a drunken man. He did not know what to do, and he did not have any money in his pocket to get milk or to feed the baby, and not one person in that camp was willing to help him. See the sad plight of Mikhail.